Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Fun Speculation Podcast, episode number 69. That's a fun number, 69. We are live, and we're going to have a fun show today. There's a little bit of interesting discussion to have here because, what was it, on Friday, I guess, there was a supposed leak and rumors regarding PS5 Pro, which we'd already heard about a little bit previously. But with the slow news right now, I figure maybe it'd be a good time to have some conversations about mid-gen refreshes, and is it time to talk about that the next year or two, right? For maybe a release. Also, hey, I got a PC, so this is a new setup. I don't know if here's the thing, right? You can see my cameras are in a different spot because I messed some things around. Hopefully this works out well, but it's for the lighting is best with it in this position, so I made that work. Other than that, I had to reset up everything in OBS, all of the podcast, all of the streaming stuff, everything, the audio. Huge undertaking. I buckled down and got it all done this weekend, but if Kate already says it looks fucking weird with the camera here.
It does.
But if I can move it around, we'll play with it on the show. How about that, right?
Don't play with it live on air.
I'll play with it live on the show, but we'll come to a consensus in the chat where you want the camera, right? But besides that,
say that. They probably want it under the desk.
No, I can't put it under the desk, psycho.
It looks better in Discord flips.
Holy shit!
Does it?
Yeah.
Jesper's in hot.
Yeah, he's coming right for me.
Oh, he is loud for me. Holy
You're
shit.
low for me, psycho.
Am I? Hold on.
Yeah. I can
Well,
adjust
I might be sick, so hold on.
No, I can adjust your audio a little bit. Okay, okay, there we go. I think it's better now. But anyway,
okay.
We got that 2K camera view. The 2K camera view. Yeah. Shout out to the chat. Thank you all for watching. Everybody. Luis Jose says I look like a typical Twitch streamer. That's what I thought when I saw it. Like, I don't have a cleavage shirt right now, though. That's what this view's generally for, you know?
Thank you for the roses. No spicy.
But yeah, thanks everybody for watching the show, and we'll have some fun. So shout out to the panel first off. What's up, Psycho? How's it going, man?
Good. It feels like I'm maybe coming down with a cold.
Ooh.
I'm hoping that's what it is and not COVID, because I am going to West Palm Beach Thursday. So I won't be. News. I won't be on Xbox Ultimate Friday because I'm going to Dave Matthews. So.
Oh, okay. Right on. Well, wow, man. Yeah. You haven't seen Dave Matthews in years.
I know. Last time you went, they got COVID.
Yeah, last time I went, I got COVID. That's correct.
Now you're gonna go and give everybody COVID. Is this better?
Yeah.
Is the side profile good? Does that look better?
Yeah, a little whitewashed, a little
whitewashed.
The lighting. Yeah, but we can mess with that.
I was sitting there for like 45 minutes just trying to mess with the coloring and the lighting and all that stuff. It's just frustrating. Kate says no. Okay. Well, babe, what about here? Is that better? You can see all my hats on my chair. Oh, I'll let Kate decide. How about that? The chat said no to the side profile. Definitely too white. That's better.
Yeah, that you have better color there.
Have better color. Okay.
Yeah, you're not Casper. You don't look like fucking Moon whatever.
I don't look like Moon Knight.
Yeah, Moon Knight. But
right on.
No, it's been crazy at work. I've been selling a lot of Series X's, I only sold one PS5. I've been working and open and close, and I've been by myself, so um, I haven't been selling a lot of PS5s. But I did get a lot of PS5s in today, so I don't know what that's all about. But I'm out. I'm out of Xbox controllers. I'm down to two Series X's. Been sold out of Series S's. Um, and I have one Starfield headset left. I've just been pushing Xbox stuff like
I
crazy.
like how now that Cycle works at GameStop, we get GameStop
Yeah,
stock
thanks for the
inventory update.
GameStop
Yeah, dude.
inventory update with Psychonauts. That's awesome,
Yeah.
man.
But the crazy thing is that a lot of people are still asking daily, do you have the older Call of Duties? And now Gears of War because they fixed those servers. So it's been crazy for 360 gamers being able to play those old school games. So
So
I
what
just
you're saying was Don Matrick was right. You can just play a 360.
no because
we got a console
with
for
your
you.
s-
It's called the Xbox.
with the
360.
Series X you have the nostalgia. At least you can use your old discs on that console.
Yeah,
So
that's true. How you doing, Fuzzy? What's up, man?
Almost
You-
forgot I was on mute.
Yeah.
Doing pretty good. But yeah, man, just playing Division 2, trying to get some of the clothing stuff for the season. Other than that, looking at Twitter or the app that was formerly called Twitter, now X or whatever you want to call it. Um, I don't know. This whole Call of Duty craze and Gears of War craze, man, it goes to show that people do play old games. So, Jim Ryan's putting his foot in his mouth once again. But
Yeah.
yeah, we got
Right.
a lot to talk about. Even though slow news week, but man, the rumors of these mid-gen refreshes and stuff like that. I think even the court documents had something for Xbox, even though Phil says he's, that's not what people want kind of thing, but they got some sort of third SKU or third console that they're working on. So
Yeah, I've thought they should make a digital Series X, like
yeah,
for less expensive, um, eventually, and then the next Pro version or whatever, have a $500 version again, amped up. But we'll see what the pricing is the trickiest thing with all that. How you doing, Jasper?
Pretty good. Just been playing Remnant with Pong and Steel over the weekend, and we beat that. So I've almost beat that on my world this time. So I got the final boss to do, and then I've rebeat it. I was going to do that tonight, but power went out, so I couldn't play the game. So that's what I've been up to.
Yeah, right on. What I know that when I was streaming last night at doing test stuff on the stream, you guys were at the final boss.
Yeah.
And it seemed pretty challenging.
I mean, it's just you got to learn his patterns. Once we died on the first stage maybe like 20 times, but then once we figured out that first stage, we beat him every single time. Like he wasn't even a problem. And then we had to learn that second phase. And then
Right.
once we learned the second phase, he's easy. So
Okay. So it's just about memorizing the patterns and stuff.
yeah.
Right. It is a harder game. I haven't played a lot because I was messing with the PC stuff over the weekend, but I did play some with you on Friday. And it started me off in a really rough spot, and I needed your help to get through that. But once we got through that, the game, like, I was like, okay, this is really good. Graphics wise, it's impressive. The enemy design is amazing. The gunplay is fun. Really quality game, I would say. It's not the easiest to play solo, especially starting out, like from the get go. But and I think some people could get frustrated with that because I know I was before you hopped in. But I think there's for hardcore players and people that really like that challenge, it's definitely a game worth looking at. So I can't wait to dive more into that. I've been, like I said, I've been playing with PC stuff, and like Pong said before when he got his, it's been a little eye opening, right, for like things, and all the games out there that I couldn't play before at a high quality. Now I can. And the biggest thing, my biggest wow moment so far was Red Dead Redemption 2. Booting that up yesterday and setting like everything pretty much at like high and ultra settings and all that stuff and seeing it on the widescreen. Um, Man, they need to update that game for consoles, right? Because I think that at 60 for consoles would be absolutely amazing. Because it was
Dude, Starfield's gonna look fucking amazing on your screen.
dude, I'm so excited for Starfield, man. I can't wait, bro. Like even just running the benchmark thing, like the testing was going through the different like scenery and the different scenes and
You had
the
that one like
environment.
space shot, like
Yeah,
in Red
with the
Dead.
sky.
Yeah.
Dude, like that was mind blowing in front of my screen. Like, my God, that's so cool, you know. So it's been a little eye opening to things, which is relevant to this conversation because I wanted to talk about the rumors, obviously, for the leaks of the PS5 Pro stuff. Do you have the info, Jasper?
Yeah, I can pull it up real quick.
So this came from Tom Henderson, Inside Gaming, I think.
Yeah, Insider Gaming. He broke it. Where's it at? It's right.
While you're looking that up, Alvin hit us with a $5 super chat. Says Digital Foundry walked back that viral clip the next week. Looking at X as a mid-gen was a philosophy for launching 2 SKUs at once, not a plan for the whole gen. Yeah, I've seen some people saying, is the Series X really just like ahead of the game and like their version of a mid-gen? I don't really think
That's
so.
what I think it is.
You think so?
Yeah.
But like we're still getting 30 frames games, bro. Like
Yeah,
so,
well, I can guarantee you the new PlayStation 5 Pro marketing of 8K, that ain't happening either. So,
yeah, no, for sure. I mean, both say like 8K compatible, but like, is this 30 frames thing gonna be? First off, do enough people care about 30
I
frames
don't
versus
think so.
60? Second off, is that going to become more prevalent as these games get bigger and more have higher fidelity settings and all these kind of things, you know?
I
So
think the main thing is just having the game run at 4K for Xbox and PlayStation right now. Because that's what they kind of been marketing for the past like 5-6 years is it's a 4K box, you know? So it's like you can get 4K games. That's kind of the marketing they've been going with.
right. So what did Tom say?
Its code name is Project Trinity. It's been in development since 2022. Dev kits are going out in November. It has 30 working group processor is what I think it's called. I can't remember. And it's 1800 mega transfers per second memory and accelerated ray tracing targeting November 2024 release.
Okay. I'm getting echo back from your side, Mike's echo. Just let you know.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. So, where is this going to fall in comparison to power, you think?
So I did the math on it. Let me go back to my tweet where I did the math here, or DM. It's so if with the 30 working group processors, what that means is it has 60 compute units, but 4 disabled by default due to manufacturing defects. So it's going to have 56 compute units working in the PlayStation 5. And each compute unit right now, if it's current AMD technology, will have 64 shaders. So you times that by the speed of the graphics card, which would be 2.5 thousand megahertz or 2.5 gigahertz. You times that by 2, and you get 17.92 teraflops.
What are they now?
The only
like
Xbox is 12, PlayStation is 10.
Okay, so it's almost double a PS5.
Yeah,
80% higher, almost.
The only thing that's really a guess right now is the speed of what they're going to clock it at. I just took 2.5 gigahertz because that's a 200 megahertz increase over what they run now. So it's a slight bump, not too fancy, but that's just
okay.
Kind of educated guess.
So will this allow? Like, here's a question. Like, if you're Xbox, and Psycho is still getting echo, like kickback on your mic or whatever. It's feeding back a little bit.
Is it still there?
Yeah. Question for this, like, if PlayStation releases this, it said next year release date,
2024.
Yeah.
I think.
So
yeah.
if they do that, okay, let's say the next big multi-plat third-party game comes out, like a Jedi Survivor, or something like that, and it's able to do 4K 60 and have like 1440 120 modes and all these kind of things, and then Series X is like, well, we have 4K 30 and 1440 60 or something like that. Is that going to be a problem for Xbox?
No,
You don't think so? I
no.
think
I
it would
think
be, because
if it,
multiplat's like, I don't know, man. Like,
I think if anything, PlayStation's still going to run it. They might get some 4K 60 games, some more of those, but I think they're still all going to have their performance targets, and I don't think anything's going to be really above 60. Just because I think they kind of all want everything to be locked and steady. Like,
okay, so what if like Jedi Survivor would have had come out and the
you would be getting
PS5
60 frames now.
Pro is 4K 60 stable, right?
Yeah,
And
I
in
mean
quality mode.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that's the way it is now. Like some games are stable on Xbox and they're not on PlayStation.
Yeah,
Some games are
but
stable on PlayStation, not
if
on
it's
Xbox.
consistently always like that, I think Xbox might have a problem with, selling Series X as opposed to PS5 Pro.
But you also have to realize that like some games are still going to try to push that barrier of what they can get away with. So like they may go super ultra with it, and you still get 55 frames on PlayStation just because they try to push every graphical setting.
Right. I don't know, man. I feel like if this is true, I feel like Xbox needs to do a mid-gen. I was looking back, and I want to get Fuzzy's thoughts on this too, but I was looking back at the dates. Okay, so the 360 launched in 2005, and it ran for 8 years to 2013. The Xbox One launched in 2013, and then 4 years later, the One X came out, and then 3 years after that is when the Series X came out in 2020. So 4 years into Xbox One's life, we did get that mid-gen refresh. We're already 3
It was
years.
a year later too from PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4 Pro, wasn't it? Xbox One X was a
Yeah,
year
it was
later.
a year later. Yeah, but this time the PlayStation would be presumably sooner, right?
Yeah.
So Series X is going. This is the third year. This November it'll mark 3 years of the Series X, and if next year would be the fourth year, okay. I don't know when the next graphics cards come out. Probably 2025 or 2024 as well. I'm not sure when those next series cards will be. At
Next
that
year.
point, we're gonna start looking back at like I feel like we'll look back at the 2020 releases as starting to be slightly outdated in late 2020, 2024, or in 2025. And it for me, it all depends on the cost, right? Is this PS5 Pro going to be like $700? Or are they going to be able to be 500 or 550?
Um,
I think they'll
See-
probably be between 5 and 550. I think the big question for me is with this new chipset that it's going to have, is it going to be RDNA 2 or is it going to have RDNA 3? Because
I
I
think
can't imagine it being RDNA 3 for the fact that that would be a whole new program set and tool set that you'd have to program for. But if
well,
it's
I
a
mean, there's
full,
some technology that's like leading it to be like possibly RDNA 4, like.
mm,
But that would like RDNA 4 is supposed to come out around the launch time of this, so like it depending on how close that relationship is with AMD, they could have that. But right now RDNA 3 is super delayed, so I probably won't even get to that.
mhm.
So I expect it to be RDNA 3, but again, it's like whatever.
The chat's bringing up a good thought. Okay, so GTA 6 comes out. Okay,
Mhm.
let's say GTA 6 is playable at 60 frames on a PlayStation, but not on a Series X.
See, that's the thing. Like a lot of what I kind of see.
You think GTA 6 is going to be 60? That's the funny part.
Well, maybe it would be on the PS5 Pro, right? But not the regular PS5.
I still, I don't even know if they can do, because the big thing now is we're hearing or speculation that the speed limiter for the cars is going to be gone. So the world load should be a lot faster requiring SSD, so that means even for PC, if they release it on PC at launch, um, it, I don't know if this game is really going to be 60.
I think
It's
it depends on the CPU. Like with the amount of physics and like NPCs and all that stuff, depending on how far GTA 6 is like from 5, like the CPU could be the limiting factor with GTA.
Yeah, but I would
Not the
imagine the
graphics.
CPU would be stronger on a PS5 Pro as opposed to a regular PS5, right?
I think it was going to be the same because I think the only thing to upgrade is graphics.
yeah.
They may get like a slight bump in speed on CPU, but that's it. Like CPU is probably going to be the one thing that stays the same.
But that
See,
isn't the CPU like the main bottleneck for consoles now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So why don't they just like focus on upgrading those damn CPUs and
because then you have to. It's almost like a different SKU at that point. Whereas graphics, you can just turn settings down. With like CPU, it's like almost it changes it a little bit.
Yeah.
right? So they have to develop
that
a
would
whole
push
new-
it into next
Yeah.
gen.
PCs. They could do this shit.
See-
So like I don't. It's weird, you know. That you can PC. There's like a million settings. It doesn't matter what the hell you run, you know. But like on a console, it's like okay, we're gonna make the best option
You
for
guys hear
this
me?
SKU, right?
Mhm.
And we're limiting you on this and this because of this, right? And you see these developers talk all the time. Well, there's bottlenecks about this, or we're having trouble with split screen co-op because of this, or you know, we got the untethered co-op and it's causing these problems where we can't do 60 frames on consoles and all these kind of things. And it's like, well, if the graphics isn't the problem with these games and the CPU is, it seems like maybe they need to start thinking about that when developing these consoles. You know,
Well, that's the one good thing about the Series X is it has a faster CPU in it.
yeah, but we haven't seen any benefit to that really on multiplats at least yet.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, like Starfield's going to be 30, and it is what it is. I understand that's like a different kind of thing, and it's you know,
That's a
it's,
Todd Howard decision, unfortunate.
yeah, and he's even pretty much alluded to the fact that he potentially could get 60 if he lowered things and lowered specs, but he has, you know, his vision that he wants to meet, which is fine. But at the same
Forza
time,
should be like a 4K 60. The question will be, is it going to be 4K native, or if it's going to be 4K upscaling when it has ray
It's gonna be
tracing
upscaling.
at the same time. But
So-
that's going to be the one that I think will show what the X is fully capable of out of the box. But like these mid-gen refreshes, like I can understand the PS5 for the fact that it's less powerful than the X, so this will give them that power narrative for selling the product. But last gen, when they did the PS4 Pro, it was more so for the PSVR, and it looks like the PSVR 2 isn't quite landing like the PSVR 1 did. So we'll
This
probably
is
get
their
that
One
PS.
X.
Yeah.
I mean-
now that we'll probably see. I would say Xbox Pro or Xbox Two or whatever will come out like the following year after the PS5. But until
so
I see
2025.
these things pushed, I don't know if I even want to bother with it. It's like
Well, yeah,
these devs. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing that everyone like. They're not pushing this hardware at all. They're not pushing at least Xbox. Xbox.
Well, though,
you
how
know,
come they keep blaming like these bottlenecks for having to make these
Because
compromises on their games?
when you if you develop for Sony and that is where you draw the line, you're not going to take advantage of other tools for the other box if that's something that's in a clause. And we have already heard multiple games that are doing this from multiple from the court cases that they have kind of leaked out, and other things that like Capcom has leaked out some things. So these like that's why Xbox has came out and said that we're not going to do a mid-gen, because guess what? They have this stuff built in. Yeah, Sony can try to push 17 teraflops if that's what they think, unless that is just their they're just putting that out there just to get people like, oh, it's going to be the most powerful thing. And
Well, it's going to be more powerful than the Series X just because Series X has been out for 2 years.
Well, Series X already, the Xbox consoles already have accelerated hardware ray tracing in the box since day one. Sony did not. So no developers are utilizing that. First party will, and that's why we're going to probably see something with like Forza. If Forza comes out 4K 60 with ray tracing, then we know definitively that the console is capable of putting that next gen numbers that the PS5 Pro is saying, but we've had it since day one. So why aren't these other developers utilizing it? It's because they haven't utilized those tool sets in their own engines. Until they do, we're not going to get the performance that Xbox pretty much knows that this is what we have.
Well, could they let's say that's the case though, Psycho, right? Like,
yeah,
if that's the case, still wouldn't new hardware allow them to potentially brute force better performance on a more powerful console with another version of the release,
but then you lead to lazy dev work.
We already get that all the time, you know.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
like
understand.
that's not ever going to change. You know,
that's the problem with Xbox right now. That's why I don't think they do it, because devs are already annoyed that they have to do 2 different SKUs of their games. So like if they do a third one, like they're going to piss off a lot more.
Yeah, but they did that last gen. They had a 1S. They had 4. They had the Xbox One, the 1S. Then they had the Xbox. Well, I guess 3. So 3. That 1X. So they had 3 SKUs last gen.
Yeah, look at all those games that were on the Xbox though.
Yeah, but the Xbox One X brought a lot of people back into the Xbox ecosystem, right?
And
because they finally gained the power narrative. I just think
and then
you don't want to lose the power narrative.
No,
True.
But if the power narrative, if you're just going on teraflops, but yet the console is capable of doing more or the same thing that the other company is pushing with a new Pro version, when the regular Series X has been capable since day one, who really has the power narrative? Like, they had to do remake and develop a whole brand new console just to catch up to the Series X, and they're adding 5 teraflops to just push that barrier, kind of like how the 4090, they're just hoping the performance helps push that a little bit. But if you sit there and utilize the tools that these consoles are capable of, like, there's stuff that the Series X is capable of doing that is not RDNA 2, but yet it's not there at RDNA 3 because they don't have the literature out for that. So they can't. So it's like this weird hybrid that Xbox did, and that's why they waited for so long. And just for trying to do if the Xbox does do a mid-gen refresh, it's just to keep the power narrative. But if we see developers utilizing the tools that are in the Xbox, because the PS5 is now going to start using VRS tier 2 mesh shaders, because those tools were not capable in the regular PS5, then what does Xbox really need a mid-gen for when they start finally using tools that it's had since day one? So this is where that weird limbo where Xbox is like, do we do that for the 5 teraflops? Like, yeah, but our core performance of the console is capable of doing what the Pro is, and we don't have to resell our customers a brand new console for it's the most part. You know what I mean? It's just
that's
weird
assuming
thing that
the
Xbox,
multi-plat third-party developers are going to take advantage of everything within the tool sets that Xbox has to offer. And because it's a multi-plat developer, it's not likely going to happen, right? So,
it would be more likely now because Sony would have the same tool set. So devs wouldn't have to be like, as we only get FSR1 on PlayStation, we're not going to do anything with Xbox.
So the PS5 Pro launching might benefit the Series X in a way.
Correct.
Yeah,
and that's why Xbox might not have to. That's where they probably maybe sit back, have something ready to go if it does need to have a mid-gen, but they could just sit back and see, do we need to launch this for a year? And if they start seeing the performances are on par with the Pro, then they can say, look, our console day one is able to do this. Sony had to bring out a Pro to catch up to us.
Okay,
so who has the power?
Let's look at it as
That's the narrative.
for a consumer perspective, right? So, assuming you don't already own an Xbox, and let's say this is in 2025, that's 2 years from now, okay? That'll be 5 years into the generation. So originally, Series X came out in 2020. 5 years later, it would be 2025, okay? PS5 Pro would have been out for a year. Maybe there's a few games that slightly perform better or whatever from third parties. Who knows? Maybe not. But at that point, still, from a consumer perspective, I walk into a store as a new consumer, right? Got $500 to spend. If they're able to get the price in 2025 at $500, would you rather
I think
buy?
it's gonna be 600, but
It'd probably be 600. Just
Okay,
with
so let's say the
added
PS5 Pro is 600 and the
memory
Series X
and
Pro is 600.
CPU.
Generally, in the past, they've always lowered prices and then released the other hardware to match the existing price, but that may not be the case just because of the crazy inflation the last couple of years or whatever, right? So, but whatever the price is, okay, you go into a store, you got the money to spend. Would I rather spend that money on 5-year-old hardware, or would I rather spend that money on something that's more powerful, that there's going to be potentially free updates on first-party games to run games like Starfield at 60 frames potentially, and also maybe have some of those multiplats maintain parity with the PS5 Pro, right?
counter argument. What if Microsoft is like, we'll take the hit. We don't want the Pro console. What we're gonna do is, we know in 2027 that we should be getting ready for next gen. So let's just launch next gen in 2027 and make it a 7-year cycle instead of an 8-year cycle. So Xbox is first to next gen.
There was a
And then
7-year
PlayStation-
cycle last generation still. So last generation
whatever.
was 2013 to 2020.
Well, whatever. I'm just saying, what
Yeah.
if they get next gen started a year before PlayStation? Then it would be like the 360 era, where they're the only console on the market with next gen.
Right. So the other aspect of this is like these consoles are not like in the past where there's a whole like jump off point. You know what I mean? It's like you get like the Series
Everything
X.
carries over now.
Yeah,
So it's
everything
like,
carries over. So like if there's a reason to advance technology enough to have a new console, why not?
cost.
Well, for consumer perspective as well. Like if I can trade in my Series X or sell it to somebody for $350, right? I upgrade it $200, $250, whatever. That's a personal decision, right? But at that point, if they're not planning on like selling a ton of them because it's already late into the generation, but I still get more power and bang for my buck, and the developers are able to update their games for that other SKU and stuff, like as a consumer, for me, I want that. Because I feel like my Series X is already kind of being handicapped, whether it's the developer's faults or whether it's the hardware or whoever. There's games releasing, whether it's Gotham Knights or Starfield or whatever, that should have better performance. Jedi Survivor launched with a lot of issues this year as well, and also Hogwarts Legacy had some issues. There was lots of different games that have had these issues from multiplats and stuff like that as well. So I don't know. I just don't see the downside of it personally. Like in 2025, and then you can still release your next tier actual next gen consoles in like 2028 and have a traditional 8-year cycle at that point.
I just think the upside to it is too pricey for Microsoft to like really give a shit about, because if they come out with a new console, they're going to be taking hit price on hardware again. And it's like, do we really need to do that when we're only going to sell 3 million of these?
Yeah.
It depends on if PS5, how much that PS5 Pro marketing and stuff really starts affecting them, I think.
And the thing with the One X, the reasoning of doing that is to get the power narrative back to Xbox and really bring customers back to the platform.
It made an impact, man. It
Mhm.
did.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing because we saw the outcome of the 2013 launch of the Xbox One with the PlayStation, and then they announced the Pro, and then here we go, like, oh, now PlayStation still power, has the power narrative, and Xbox, feels like, fuck this. No, we've always been the leader in the powerful console. So do they? And that's why they waited. What was it? What 3 years before the launch of the Series X for the one to release the One X. So it's like, do they now take a hit again that close with a new hardware, or like, do they do what Jasper's mentioning? Don't do a mid-gen, come out a year early, and
Even
do a
then,
new
that's
console.
you talk about 2024 to 2027. That's 3 years where PlayStation will have the power advantage on hardware. That's a long
And
time.
then
But
then you get it back with next
That's
gen.
the entire length
No,
so
but-
far, plus some of
but
this
that's
generation.
that's just speculation, because we don't know if the developers are utilizing the tool sets for Xbox and PlayStation,
Yeah,
because
but
PlayStation
it's
finally
going to be more
utilize
powerful
it.
than a Series
So
X.
how? Okay, but so what are we talking about? A couple frames? Because if they're utilizing,
Well,
because the
it
Series
could be
X
the difference between a game
accelerated.
actually maintaining a smooth 60 frames and having this other jumbled performance mode bullshit like we've been getting in some of these
Because
big
no one's, if they're not using the tools,
But that's my
what
point. It
we're
doesn't
seeing.
matter. Like they're right now, they haven't been utilizing them. Whether in the
Because
future,
Sony doesn't have it. That's why they're not using it.
yeah, is it though? I mean, is there proof
Yes,
though? that
yes,
they're
Yeah.
not?
100%,
The
100%. That's
PS4 and
what
PS5
So
are the
Jedi
same tool
Survivor's
set.
performance mode sucks because of PlayStation. Like,
Yes.
No, its performance mode sucks because of the developer.
Yeah.
Period.
Okay,
That that one is just the developer all around.
that's what I'm
Because
saying
if-
though. There's going to be
when-
like several of these cases. We can't just.
But
I don't look at play
PC
because they
even
don't
if-
have RDNA
but
2
if
point whatever
PCs
the
has
fuck
a
it is
problem-
like that.
Yeah,
the
PCs have
how
a problem with
can-
Jedi Survivor too. So,
so how can
it
a
comes down to
console
devs still?
do better than the PC when the PCs it has the power narrative? You got a 4090 and it still can't do shit. What do you think a mid-gen refresh is going to do? Ain't
Jedi
nothing.
Survivor on a 4090 is way better than it is on a Series X or PS5 Pro. Or
But it still
PS5.
has the issues.
It has some issues, but it's not running at like sub 60 720p. You know what I mean? Like it's not
Yeah,
jumping
but,
up and down like crazy like that. Like there's
We
different
will
kinds
never.
of issues.
We will not see a console pushing for a 4090 specs for a reasonable price. There's nothing. Like, we won't get that unless you want to spend, $1,000 for a console. That's the only time we're gonna get a console that's spec'd like a 4090.
I just think we're gonna be
We'll get a 4090 spec console in 4 years. Because at that point it'll be the cost.
Yeah,
it won't
next
be cost
gen, yeah.
prohibitive.
Yeah.
Wait, I got
And then-
I got a question. If Xbox released this, would you buy it? Fuzzy, would you buy it? Would you trade in your Series X and get Series X Pro in 2025?
It depends on what Forza looks like, between the differences between the two. Like if they backtrack on the regular Series X saying ray tracing on track 4K 60, which they kind of walked back a little bit. The 4K or the ray tracing performance mode is going to be downscaled a little. It'll be like what do you call it? Like uh, adjustable frame, not adjustable frame rate, but
Variable
adjustable
frame rate.
variable resolution or something like that.
Yeah.
And then the other one is native 4K, then I will probably trade up. But if it's not that big of a difference, like if both of them have a 4K 60 mode, both of them are able to do ray tracing, it's just that the particles or things like that, as far as like when you cut across the grass and stuff, I might just see what it looks like on my PC with my 3080. So
Yeah.
it kind of depends. But like for me, I'm holding off on a PS5 or a PS5 Pro or a Series Pro unless it wows me like the One X did. Like the difference between the One X versus the Xbox One was like night and day. It was clear to see.
I felt like the One X was kind of a letdown.
Mm,
Well, For me,
4K
for the
was a
games,
huge thing for that. The resolution, like we were getting 900p and shit on a lot of those games, and we got
Yeah.
a free updates on so many games
yeah.
that really took advantage of the One X, and we were getting some games at
Yeah,
60 frames and
it
never had it
we had it for
before.
like 3 years, and I just felt like
It was
it
short.
yeah, it wasn't worth it for that. Like, I don't know. I just felt like
I don't know. I'm just always
That's
in this like I would rather trade up. I feel like 3 years is a significant amount of time that you can get
Mhm.
use out of something and then trade up. I was able to sell my One X's for like $350.
see,
Like,
that's I keep all my old consoles. Like, I don't know. That's maybe that's why.
yeah, I sell them and I upgrade. I don't have any use for the old consoles. You know what I mean? Like,
Especially now
especially
that
on
everything
Xbox.
carries over.
Yeah,
I got the
like
Scorpio edition. It has special words on it.
the
can't
only
sell that.
one I
True.
have like is I have a 360 now because there's some old disc-based games that aren't backwards compatible, right? Like
Mhm.
licensed games that their licensing expired or whatever, so that you can't buy them in the store, and stuff like that. So, like, that's a reason to have like an old console, but that's not really a thing in like Xbox One and Series X generation. You know what I mean? Like, and whenever they upgrade it, it's like, okay, cool new hardware. I'm going to upgrade, and I still get to play all my other games, and then they're going to update a lot of them for free, right? And that's the way it's been the last since the Xbox One to One X, and then the Series X. We got how many free
Mhm.
updates? You know what I mean? Like tons of them,
Tons.
tons of free updates. And I feel like whenever they do the new hardware, there's a team of developers out there that go, okay, let's update this, let's update this, let's update this for free. And I'm like, hell yeah, these games are more awesome than they were before, and it brought more value to my digital library, right? So like, I just feel like if PlayStation does it, like it'd be
Well,
maybe a mistake for Xbox not to.
see, the thing is that, like in the Xbox One generation, if we're gonna go with that, they pushed the VCR. They pushed that to the max. So the One X came out and to get to the I mean, it was checkerboard in 4K, but to get to 4K gaming so they can have the paranoia. And they developers were, like, all right, let's let's do this, because they were able, because the PS4 Pro was already out, so they were able to utilize the tool sets. That's the issue that we're in right now, because they're not utilizing the series consoles with the tools. So it's one of those where you're in limbo. Here's Xbox. They know what the console's capable of. We're gonna see that performance. Look at Fable running in gameplay on the console. You look at Forza Motorsport. We're getting 4K 60 with ray tracing. If
Yeah, it's a racing
they,
game though. It's like, yeah, that's what they
but
always take
it's
advantage
still
of. It's impressive. I know, I'm not saying it's not impressive, but like,
PS5 ain't getting 4K 60 with ray tracing.
no, it's
You know what I'm
because of the
saying?
onboard ray tracing, whatever the Xbox had, and it's a first party
Exactly.
game too, though. But like,
Yes.
if we're talking about first
So-
party, these companies are always going to take more advantage. Like,
Yes, but I'm saying that
look at Redfall. We still don't have
when-
60 frames on that shit, and they had all of the stuff
well,
available
Again,
to
that's
them.
developers' fault.
So we
Yeah.
blame the
So
developers,
when-
right? But what if they had more raw horsepower? They would be able to get it to 60, because you can play it at 60 on PC with like similar specs. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it
the
makes
thing
it
is
easier
that
for developers that maybe
when
aren't
if
optimizing
you
the
use
best.
the performance,
Then
and
that makes
to-
developers lazy, and then you get
For-
unoptimized.
What world do we live in right now?
But that's
Look
the
at the
thing,
last 3
that's-
years that we've had.
Yeah,
you know?
but if your game is unoptimized, you're gonna have issues down the road with game development, where a game is gonna be problems.
So all of a
within
sudden,
these
developers are
pros.
just going to completely change and optimize everything amazingly.
But if the market leader, the console that has 140 million fucking users, when they lead up to their power, then you'll see a bump in performance with Xbox. We saw that. What was that wording where they had to do the partial. What fucking game? It
Keep
wasn't
parody?
parody. They had to do it with was it Resident Evil 4?
Yeah.
With that, they had to match the performance of the PS5 onto the Xbox, even though Xbox could do more. That came out what, a couple days ago. So I mean, there's evidence there that the Xbox is not being utilized. So I think Xbox is just going to hold back, let PlayStation come out with whatever.
I'll be honest, like, as the
and it-
Xbox ecosystem continues to grow on PC, like, I'm less likely to buy Xboxes because Xbox keeps putting those Xbox features on PC. So it's like, why would I ever buy an Xbox?
Well, for me, it depends on the user. Like for me, I have multiple places in the house I play games. I don't play
Yeah.
games just here, right? So like, if you're like you, Jasper, and it's just like you're, a single guy and you got your hangout space and that's where you live at, yeah, you just only need one gaming device, right? Really. But like for me, for a lot of people and families and stuff, we have, setups in the different places in the house. and
Okay,
all that.
so you got to go buy $2,000 PCs for every room. Got it.
No, hell no. I ain't doing that. I got my Series X's and I got my Series S's in my house right now. You know what I mean? And I got one PS5. And when there's a new version for the places that I play the most, like I want the better hardware. And I based on the history with Xbox, I would assume we're going to get updates to take advantage of those games, not just from Xbox themselves, but also a lot of third parties took advantage of that stuff too.
Yeah, but what really to okay? So if Xbox upgrades their CPU, I'm assuming
That
they'll
would be
probably
next gen if they upgrade their CPU.
update. Well, I mean, not like go to like Ryzen 3. I'm talking about like because they did with the Jaguar chips, they clocked it faster. So if they were able to go with a smaller die, maybe able to push uh, the frequency a little bit more because right now Xbox is a locked frequency, PlayStation. So. And that's another thing that PlayStation. With their mid-gen refresh? What are they using for? Are they using a whole different freaking die? Are they using a whole different processor?
I don't know. The Series S is less powerful than the PS5 also, and the developers have to develop for that too. So like this whole thing about the PS5 and stuff, like holding back Xbox games, like I get the sentiment there, but for me, it's when there's a Series S that's out there as well. Like I love the Series S, like it's great, but like, how is the PS5 holding back multi-plats when the Series S is also a thing and they got to develop for that too?
Good. Maybe Series X games will start being 1440 60. Then we can actually get some decent performance.
That's what I'm saying. I just want like the games to be, whether it's and I'm not saying devs also. I see that. I'm not saying devs are lazy.
Downscaling is not going to be the issue here.
I think priorities are wrong with publishers and allocating resources a lot of times with the decisions they make with their games and what they want to push, right? And I think it's a priority thing with like fidelity versus performance a lot of times. Like Gotham Knights, did we need untethered co-op? Really? You know what I mean?
The thing is, if performance is scalability, downscaling it is not an issue. It's upscaling. If they're not doing the work to upscale it to make it look better, run better, and utilizing tools, it don't matter that they can downtune it, no problem. They run it on the Series S. That is not the issue. But again, they had to utilize the freaking tools to utilize that Series S. So they're not even doing that right now because that means they got to do a little bit extra work, and they're not the popular console, and that's where the issue that we are seeing at this moment because PlayStation is here, and now you have to work on certain. You got to make your game run on the Series S and the Series X, but you're not going to utilize all the performance for the Series X, but you got to downtune it so it can perform on the Series S, but you got to utilize the tools that they're not utilizing on the Series X for the Series S. So there is this. That's why we're seeing especially the fucking idiot developers that are, what the fuck their name are, it starts with an E. That
Quantum
stupid
Error?
ass. Yeah,
Or whatever.
Quantum Error. They're sitting there like, oh yeah, we haven't even used direct storage yet for Xbox, and it's like, hold on, you haven't even utilized it yet. So your comment of saying the SSD is holding back is fucking null and void
And
because
it doesn't even
you're
matter
not even
'cause
utilizing the
Xbox's
tools.
CPU is faster, so it can decompress files faster. So it
So
ends
what the
up
fuck are
winning
you
most of
guys
the time.
talking about? And that's the thing we're seeing. We're seeing these developers not utilizing the tools. So it's hard to really sit there and be like, you know what? Yeah, if they're using the tools and they're still having, we're seeing the performances where we're getting now, then yes, get the we should get a mid-gen refresh because they're using the tools, but they're not. So that's where we're in this stupid freaking limbo. So I'm telling you, we won't see a mid-gen refresh when PlayStation comes out with one. They're gonna wait, see how things are. If third-party games are being developed on par with what we have now, I think Xbox won't go for a mid-gen refresh for the Series X. Maybe for the Series S, but not for the Series X. I don't think they will if we're getting this like performances. Now, if it's overperforming by
I think we got the Series X, Series S
quite a
upgrade with
bit.
that 1 terabyte.
Yeah.
I think that's all we're getting for upgrades.
We'll see about that. Well, possibly, but if we see the PS5 really pushing, then we'll possibly get a mid-gen from Xbox. 6 months, a year later. But if it's like neck and neck,
The only thing I could see them doing would be Series X Slim with 2 terabytes.
They could do that. But I'm saying it just depends. Like I said, if it's neck and neck performance and you don't have to upgrade your console and you're getting like performance, and PS5 you had to get a Pro to match a console that's been out already for 4 years. Who really had the power in there?
Okay, so let's look at another game. Okay, a game that launches supposedly next year. Star Wars Outlaws. Okay, it's gonna be a hugely popular multi-plat game. PS5 Pro potentially would have just come out. Okay, if PS5's version, if PS5 has a better version of that game than the Series X, to me that's a problem for Xbox.
The thing is, you're not even going to know it until Digital Foundry does a breakdown, because what's going to happen is PlayStation's going to render it at 1440p upscale at 4K, Xbox is going to be 1080p rendered upscale 4K. And you won't even notice it. 99% of people won't even notice until Digital Foundry does a pixel by pixel breakdown.
But it's going to be a problem when Digital Foundry posts that out there.
Then just don't fucking listen to Digital Foundry.
Well, that's people do though.
But if the visually,
I mean, it was so important to
if it's the
PlayStation. They
same-
even used that in their argument in their case against Microsoft. Digital Foundry's like analysis or whatever. Like they said, like if Digital Foundry gets a hold of Call of Duty and says it runs better on Xbox, we can never recover from this.
Matt,
like,
the thing is, you're trying to be the 1% right now. 99% of people won't even give a shit or care about this.
yeah, it'll spread all over Twitter, and then you'll have all these stupid arguments that go on about Digital Foundry and their nonsense, right? Like, and I agree that Digital Foundry doesn't matter to me whatsoever, but like it creates these things like, and sometimes it annoys the shit out of me because you'll have like a 3 frame drop in like one section of the game, and everybody's like, this is unacceptable, how can this happen? Like this, and people have been playing the game for like a fucking week and nobody ever noticed it before. And then Digital Foundry highlighted that one little section in that one game, and it's like, oh my god, how are we getting such bad performance on these next gen games and all this stuff? And it's like, wow, okay, but then a game like Jedi Survivor comes out that has absolutely atrocious fucking performance mode. It's broken all over the place. You have Final Fantasy 16 running at 720p and all this bullshit, and then everybody's like, it's kind of impressive what the developers are able to do with this ray tracing. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, that's my thing. All these developers are going to keep still doing the same stuff, right? So if they have more powerful SKUs that are just easier to develop for or whatever to get performance out of, inherently the gamers are going to see that regardless of what's out. And like, you can't tell me that if there's not a better like a more powerful Xbox out there, there won't be slight benefits on the games, right? Like if there's benefits on the games for me, then that's where I look at investing in.
But what if the benefits are very the margin is they're marginal? They're
Starfield at 60 frames is enough.
Yeah, but I
You're
don't
playing
think
that
a
on
mid-gen
PC anyway.
Yeah, I
mid-gen
will, but like
refresh
I
ain't
would
gonna
like
do
to play it
that.
at 60 frames in my other room.
A
Like,
mid-gen
you know what I mean?
refresh ain't gonna fix Starfield.
You don't think you
No.
don't think they'd put a 60 frames update
It's
if
No.
there
their
was like
CPU.
I think 60 frames will be available after the community mods it
Yeah.
and downscales it, and then a year later, maybe 6 months later, we get an official patch.
if there's a new console.
That's the way it did.
No,
with-
no,
they did
it-
with
it-
Fallout
even
4.
with a
period.
current console, I think we'll still get it. It's just
I don't-
the current console will probably be out of the box brute forcing it. That would be great, but
It would be the
I don't know.
same CPU though. That's the thing. They'll have the same CPU, but maybe the frequency is clocked a little higher. And really, I mean that I don't think that is going to push 60 frames for Starfield. I don't care if you're pushing, a higher teraflop GPU. If
no, just put it at 1080.
if the CPU is not really being there to is clocked higher or beefier, an upgraded CPU, I believe we're not going to see that.
They
I
did that
don't
with
know.
Fallout 4. The modders downscaled it to like 720p when it first came out, and then on Xbox you could download a 720p mod and play it at 60 on Fallout 4.
Because the
but-
Jaguar chips were at 1.78, I think, gigahertz, and the modified was like 2.12 or 2 point something. It was like it was like a point. It was like a half a gigahertz quicker. That was what they're able to do, because if you change a CPU, that's a whole new freaking thing you got to develop for. It's not going to be, for Xbox. They're going to try to keep the same CPU. So even though there's 3 SKUs, you're just really adjusting certain
graphical
parameters.
settings.
Yeah, and you're not really doing too much extra development time. But if you add a whole new CPU, which I think the Pro might be, that's
No,
a
the
whole.
Pro's, I think, going to be the same. It's just going to have a few more compute units in it. It's going to be a new generation of the same CPU, but it's going to be pretty much the exact same CPU.
They're going to have to do something, because their variable refresh rate is, I don't think is, if they keep something that's close to what's in the PS5 now, that Pro is not going to be worth the fucking 50 cents.
Right. Atlanzo 86 says, you guys misunderstand Starfield. Bethesda Game Studios games only 60 frames on next gen. It's not graphic settings, it's CPU cycles, which is crowd size, object. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
what
Needs to
we've
be
been saying.
upgraded more, not to, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't know how you upgrade a CPU in a console, and if you can make everything compatible and all that kind of stuff. But like in that argument though, like,
Adding more
does the
compute
Series X have a
units would
different
be the
CPU than
thing.
the Xbox One?
The Series X is
Yeah.
a whole different.
Okay,
it's
so
an-
but all the games are still work on a Series X.
Yeah,
like, so why not?
that's because you upgraded. Like, you can't, like, if they would do that, they would have to like start cutting out games like we're not
they
developing
would
for this
require all
platform.
new, like, well, I mean, they already require new dev kits anyway, as well.
Yeah, but like you can't. The reason like we don't get Xbox One games anymore, like, because they need extra performance to make the newer games.
Well,
So they would have to
some
start cutting
companies
out.
still release Xbox One games
Yeah, but it's becoming less and less.
because they're not selling those consoles anymore. A couple years into the generation, but like a new like game like Jedi Survivor is not going to be back because it's just making shit for old hardware.
Because it's too powerful of a game to run on the Xbox
Right,
One.
but could they take advantage of even more powerful hardware?
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
So why not make more powerful hardware?
they will in 2027.
No, it's fucking too far away, man. Like if PS5 releases one next year, my
But see,
Xbox cannot wait.
Yeah.
What,
Well,
4
we-
years?
we
3 more
can't-
years?
I can't throw that kind of money down on the mid-gen.
You just trade in, sell your Series X,
But
psycho.
they're not even utilizing the power of what I have
but it's
now.
not that. But like, if you
Why?
sell your Series X, you're gonna get $350 for it. Like, you can. That's like you're talking about.
This is a problem with everyone
upgrade.
buying fucking 4090s. Everybody's just like, yeah, just give me a fucking 4090. I don't care. Like,
Well, I mean, like, I sold all my 1Xs and 1Ss that I had, and then you know what I mean. Like, it's not like you're having to spend a whole new $600, you know, or $500.
That's not the point. If they're not utilizing the box, the mid-gen is. What's the point if they're
because
if
it's more power.
But if it's
they're gonna give you better, you're gonna get better games.
But if they still don't utilize that, what are you gonna do?
So you're
but
saying
it's supposed to be.
But so you don't think if like the PS5 Pro games or like if there's an Xbox Series X Pro games will have better modes and performance options than a Series X? Or
they were
But
already
if the
talking about the
developers-
PlayStation 5 Pro. They were saying we're going to have 8K performance mode, which is bullshit.
But if the developers are not utilizing what the powerful hardware now, why would they go out of their way to?
they're running. They're not
to
saying they're not
make-
taking advantage of it. They're blaming bottlenecks, bro. Like they're blaming
The bottlenecks is their performance
But
and
that's
what they're
not gonna
doing.
change,
They're
like,
building the
unless
bottlenecks.
I understand that, but
because they're not optimizing the freaking console.
But that's
the
not-
console.
so-
it's built-in bottlenecks, man. What are you talking about?
But psycho, are the developers gonna change? They're the same developers. The
No, they're
same
not gonna
people that are
change.
doing this now are going to make the newer games.
To that point, then the fucking mid-gen's not going to matter because you're just going to have a shitty developer still. So what the fuck's the point of any of it?
But even shitty developers can take advantage of better hardware.
Matt,
Yeah,
you have a
let's-
fucking goddamn like 60 teraflop fucking GPU in.
I know, but I don't want to just sit here. Like, here's the thing. I saw somebody say, like,
More power.
you have a PC, why does it matter? Well, because, like, I own the consoles. I care about the performance of my games on
Just
my
trade it
consoles.
in,
I still
bro.
want to play
It's
on
free
consoles.
$400.
I
Alright.
love the Series X. I think I've said many times, it's my favorite console of all time, right? And I'm not blaming anything in the Series X. I think the Series X is an amazing machine. And I think a lot of times developers have shitty priorities. But what I don't want to
Yes.
see, is PlayStation have a brand new console and have the power narrative and have better versions of multi-plat games on their hardware, and then Xbox console users that primarily play on console.
Well, if you
have
listen to
wait 3
Twitter,
or 4 years for it.
Xbox has the power narrative, and PlayStation supposedly
But they don't
still
to the
shits on
public.
Xbox.
Like, here's
but
the
it
thing.
doesn't
To
matter.
us, we understand that Xbox is more powerful, but the games
We
that are coming
know.
out are not showing that, so it doesn't
Because they're not
fucking
utilizing
matter.
the tools, man.
It
That's
doesn't
what
matter
I'm trying to
if
tell
they're
you.
not using the tools. You're exactly right.
No.
So we gotta brute force that shit. We gotta make it easier for those
The
developers.
answer you
Just
want.
fuck it. 40-90 and all. Let's do it.
Well,
Let's
if they
go.
can't figure this shit out, we just gotta give them raw horsepower. Let's go.
Oh my god. Oh my
Fucking new
God.
console every year then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
every
fucking-
5 months.
Every 5 months.
Every
Yeah.
5 months. I'm
We'll
gonna
go
trade
with the
my shit
Apple
in,
route.
pay an extra $200 and get a better one. And they'll have like 80 SKUs by the end of the generation. We'll have 80 SKUs. These developers are gonna go batshit crazy. We'll say, guess what, developers? It was your fault for not taking advantage of the tools.
Oh fuck! Oh my god,
get
dude,
this
that would
failed
be
is
fucking hilarious. That would be hilarious if Xbox and
we'll make it even
Sony
harder
just
on you
pulled an
bitches.
Apple.
Let's go.
We got a fucking new SKU every year, motherfuckers. Fuck it.
Fuck it, we do it with the iPhone. Why not?
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
iPhone people do it all the time. Let's fuck it. Let's fucking make a new SKU every.
Mm.
Let's go.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We pay
by the
fucking
end
how
of
much for our
by the
phones?
end of this generation, we'll have a 5090 in the Series X. Let's go.
Then Xbox start bottlenecking the old
Be paying
Xboxes, like the phone
$3,000 for a
like the
fucking
Apple does their old
$3,000.
iPhones. We produce the power output of the Series X for old
Yeah.
users.
It's 500. I know it uses 600 watts, but you know, it's not eco-friendly anymore. But hey,
We got some super chats to get to. $5
Oh,
from
shit.
Jay Rimbert says, I don't think there's going to be mid-gen upgrades because devs struggle with the consoles we have now. Also, PlayStation would have 3 SKUs too. Yep. Jax82 with the $2. I think the one thing that would be different with the PlayStation is the PS5's
PlayStation only have 2 because the discless and digital are the same console. They just have a disc drive.
exactly. Right. There's they don't have like it's the same hardware pretty much. Jax82 with the $2 says, "What if you buy a Pro and get the same performance?" Then I would be upset, but I don't see that happening. Now, obviously, some games it's gonna happen.
That'd be a kick in the nuts if that happened. That would be a kick in the nuts.
Jigga J, member for 6 months, appreciate Jigga, says Xbox first party needs to start utilizing the tools too. Yes, I agree with that. Alvin with the $2 says One X has same CPU, but BL3 ran at 60, 120. Huge. BL3. What's BL3?
Borderlands.
Borderlands 3. Yeah. Ran at 60 and 120. Yeah, that's true. Lots of games have had 120 frames modes. In fact, Xbox has more 120 frames games than PlayStation.
Yeah, but we're talking about those Jaguar chip made games running on a brute forced Series X. That's why we got that performance. But when you go up to what the Series X is, and that's where they have to utilize the tools, man, to get that performance. But right now, what the fuck is that? A fucking
Alvin with the $2 says we need Tim the Tool Man to make a Binford Xbox. More power. Would you buy one, Psycho? Would you sell your Xbox Series X and upgrade if they released a new one and it was like you're able to sell your Series X for $350 and you were able to upgrade to a Series X Pro for $500? And let's say that Starfield was able to be 60 frames or other games, right, with free updates.
The thing is, if they were able to utilize the console I have now and get the performance, then no. But if the new mid-gen, if that console runs day and night better because they're utilizing the tools,
what if it was as big of a difference as One X to Xbox One? I'm not like what it does for frames instead of resolution, right? Or performance and fidelity.
That's the thing. If the mid-gen is being utilized because it's the mid-gen refresh, then because it has a more powerful CPU, and I could possibly go and get a mid-gen refresh. But if there's like hardly any difference between the PS5 Pro and my current Series X, and Xbox does come out with something, then I know that they're still not going to utilize that mid-gen refresh. So
yeah, so we got to make it easy and raw horsepower that shit, right? They don't understand tools. Like, what's a tool? I'm fucking inject power. I don't.
This is not
what you're saying, right?
That's the thing. It's not PC. PC doesn't have that issue. It doesn't matter who made that GPU. It goes, if all the 4090 runs like what the 4090 is. The issue we have here is, Sony's the market leader. Now, if Xbox becomes market leader because of everything that's been going and been transpiring, and then we start seeing the shift that they develop to suit the Series X, then getting a mid-gen would make sense to me.
But see, that's the world we live in now, in a way. You know what I mean?
We don't see that shift. We have to wait for that shift. So if in the next year or two,
if PlayStation making a more powerful hardware makes Series X games better.
Yes, if we start seeing the games if they're on par, Mav, I seriously, would you be upset if Xbox didn't come out? If we're getting very similar, I mean, if it's if it's the difference of 1440p 60 ray tracing versus upscale 4K 60 ray tracing, would you be upset? or would you be okay that you're still getting the performance and it's
I just don't have
being
any faith in that, like right now, because we don't get that now, except for like
yeah,
some first party games. You know what I mean? And
because
like
PlayStation is less powerful. That's all.
maybe that's the reason. I know a lot of people think that, you know, and maybe that's the reason.
There's
But
been
like,
too many documents and too many things being said that
I
is
understand the
more
whole
than a
parody
coincidence.
thing. I understand they're developing PlayStation first and all that stuff. But like,
But
that's
you're talking about Capcom. You know that there was the same thing that and if they did with Capcom, they did it with Square. They're doing it with Activision, and you damn well know that probably I don't know about Blizzard, Bethesda,
that
but
was not about. I mean, the parody thing there wasn't really. That was had language in it that says discounting like hardware limitations. Like, so that wasn't
no,
the
I'm
language
not.
of those documents. So
No,
like the
no, I'm talking
Capcom thing
about.
that leaked was more about not allowing
um,
things to Game Pass, right?
No, there was a recent thing that just came out that the PS5 games cannot run worse than what Series X has to match. You got to match the performance of what the PS5 performance, and that is what we're getting. That's what happened with Control. That is what we got with Capcom, and I guarantee that's why the Call of Duty looks, is got capped because of that too. I'm telling you, we when this new Call of Duty comes out, and then you look at that in Dilger Frondi, he's like, holy shit!
It's the same game.
Yeah, but I mean,
It
like Madden has a 120
it's
mode on Xbox, but not on PlayStation.
yes, because EA is like, fuck you. We're not. We're not
Okay.
going to fucking sit there and you can say all you want. You want Madden? Then this is what it is. You're not going to fucking stronghold us. Strong hold. It's Madden. If you want football,
Yeah.
you're going to play. So what, Madden's going to be only on Xbox? Do you know how many people will be like, I can only play fucking Madden on
I
Xbox?
guarantee you those Madden people don't even know there's a fucking 120 option because all they do is fucking play Madden and bitch about card packs.
I
Yeah.
agree, but I'm saying like
But if
if you
it's
want to
only
look
on
at like
but if it's only on Xbox, that's a whole different conversation we're going to be having because baseball MLB the show was only on PlayStation, so Xbox didn't have baseball game, and MLB the show
I get
was
that. I just
the better of baseball games.
there's a lot of unproven like thoughts about this kind of stuff that I feel like we sometimes hold in as fact, right? Whereas other things
I-
kind of prove the opposite at times.
I'll have to find that.
And for me, it's like I've seen developers have done like not. It's not like every game runs the same on both platforms. Digital Foundry points that out all the time. The games don't run the same a lot of times, right? So it's like for me, it's not like really a parody holding things back. It's more of like you could say devs not taking advantage of the tools because PlayStation doesn't have it, and that's the lead platform. That completely makes sense to me, but that's not going to change. You know what I mean? Like, and that's so to think that that's going to change would be interesting, but I don't trust I still don't trust it. Like, if PlayStation has stuff out there and is the lead platform, and these new multi-plats and third parties and come out, and if there is a better visual mode or performance mode, or if the game looks better, or better shadows, better lighting, or any of that stuff, right? If it starts to happen in a somewhat consistent basis, and Xbox doesn't have parity there because of platform limitations, because the power, that is a problem for Xbox. That's why it was so important for Phil to claim the power narrative and say that they never wanted to not be the most powerful console again, right?
They've had that for what, 6 years now? It hasn't really mattered.
So
Yeah, really.
we're fine with conceding that. Like,
We did it the
But-
entire Xbox 360 generation.
But the thing is, Series X is the most powerful console. The devs are not utilizing the most powerful console. They're utilizing what the PS5 is. So
And
even getting the most powerful console, and if the devs not utilizing it, it doesn't matter if you have a fucking 30 teraflop graph capabilities.
The
If the
power
devs
narrative
are
was
not
just a
using it,
selling point for fanboys. That's all that was.
that's the thing. They've always been the more powerful console, but doing mid-gen refresh that could be taken away by PlayStation with a mid-gen refresh. But Xbox is like, our consoles, no matter what Sony's able to bring out, we can pretty much close match what they're gonna bring out. Now, if it's drastically different, then yes, Xbox more than likely will. But until then, these devs got to utilize the box. It's one of those things that, I mean, when Forza can do 4K 60 ray tracing, and that that's the box is capable. So, what are the devs really saying?
yeah,
We don't want to put
I
this amount of work.
I get your
because
point,
you're
and I
not
understand that's a big
the
thought
market
process.
leader.
But like, I'm looking at this as 2 years away potentially. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
like,
they're not the market leader. That's the issue.
they weren't
that
the
we're
market leader when they
always-
released one last generation either. Like,
Okay, here's what you do, Mav.
But
You
they
play all your
needed
first
to
party
get-
games on Xbox, and you play all your third parties on PC.
okay, but what if I want to play in my other room?
Then play a first party game there.
Either that, or just know that it's not going to look
Starfield,
as great as it
there.
does on a PS5 Pro.
Starfield, Redfall. Yeah, I'll play my first party games in there and really relish the 30 frames greatness of the frame rate. The whole first party thing is irrelevant at this point right now either. I understand for the most part it's going to be relevant. Like I understand most games are really going to take advantage of that, but it's not a given that just because it's a first party game that it's going to be the most optimized, amazing experience. And that goes for PlayStation as well, right? Like they've had some duds. So I don't know. I think maybe it was COVID, or maybe it was other reasons. Maybe it's everybody working remotely all of a sudden. Don't know what it is, but the first 3 years we had a lot of unoptimized experiences, right? We had a lot of games that felt rushed or that were lacking things, or the priorities were in the wrong place during the development cycle, where there was obvious ways to do things in a better way. There was obvious reasons why we could have gotten better performance or better this or better that with a lot of big time games, and some games got passes for it, other games didn't, right? Depending on what was up to the reviewers and the general hive mind mentality of communities and all that stuff. But I think that having it easier to always,
And none of that would change if we got a mid-gen. All
probably
this
not,
stuff will stay the same.
probably not, but I look at it from my perspective. Will I get better performance in some of my games? Will I get better resolution potentially in some of my games? Will I get better fidelity in some of my games? And for
minimal.
me, if the answer is yes, then that makes it worth it as a consumer, regardless of anything else. And I feel like more than likely, if there was a mid-gen refresh, we would see the benefits of it because it's a console, and they would have to have a reason to sell it to you. And the reason would be for the developers, especially on first party side, to take advantage of it. But we saw last
Put some
generation
8K marketing on that box and lie to you again.
Well, the AK stuff's irrelevant. That's stupid. Like
Well,
nobody.
the
owns
AK stuff
TVs.
was more for video playback, I
Yeah,
believe.
and nobody
I
owns AK TVs. Like I don't care
That's
about the
a-
stupid AK stuff.
No,
But, like,
no.
I care about frame
One
rates,
Away Dragon
performance.
has
I care about.
AK TV.
I okay. So one person that we know has an 8K TV. That's
Yeah.
awesome, right?
Yeah,
Props
I
to
can't
him.
afford a $10,000 TV.
Ugh.
Yeah, I'm okay. So 99% of people out there don't own an 8K TV. Okay, like it's irrelevant if it's 8K capable or whatever. What I'm saying is, like, if I get inherent benefits from the games, it's worth it for me, right? And I think there would be benefits in the games, and I don't think anybody can tell me there won't be benefit in the games. Like I don't know, like
We'll see.
Fuzzy, you're in the middle on this because you're agreeing with me and you keep agreeing with Psycho, so I can't get a feel.
I just, for me, I have to see the proof in the pudding as far as how these games are going to look, as far as between the standard X, Series X, and what the Pro would be. Like, for me,
You just gotta see the
it's
numbers.
fine if they make it.
Yeah.
It's fine if they release one. Will I buy it? That's the question mark for me.
And nobody's
because
forcing
like,
you to upgrade. They're still going to make
no,
everything for the Series X as well, right?
yeah, and I would probably be fine. I mean, I have a capable PC and I have my Series X. Now, if they start showing that, okay, all of the games that I enjoyed before, they now have all these additional features like what you would kind of see on PC, maybe, upwards of like the particle effects and specular lighting and all that stuff, then maybe I'll do the upgrade, but it for me it's not as I don't think it's going to be as noticeable in comparison to what it was for Xbox One to One X.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, it was like a night and day. And I know Jasper said he was kind of disappointed with it, but for me, a couple of games that stood out was Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Mhm.
It is complete night and day difference on the One X. I mean, it's even better now on the Series
Yeah,
X.
that's another big
But
upgrade.
there was also Mass Effect Andromeda, which I know a lot of people didn't like that game. I kind of liked it. It was like a Star Trek simulator for me, for the most part. But like when you were fighting that robotic worm through like the desert and stuff, like the One X upgrade for that made it look like almost like cinematic in comparison. Like before, you didn't have all the sand and stuff flying, or the electric bolts coming from that thing like you could. It didn't look as sharp and nice on the regular Xbox when I played it first go around than when I did the replay on the One X. So, and then the same thing with Forza Motorsport. Forza Motorsport 7 looked fine. Like I never had a complaint on my Xbox One
Yeah.
as far as playing that game, but then when I saw it on my 4K TV on the One X, it was like night and day. Like the clouds, the sky, the HDR, everything was just way better. Now, keep in mind I had the original Xbox One without the Kinect, and then upgrading to the One X. I think HDR was on the One S.
Yeah,
I didn't
HDR came with
bother.
One S, and that was actually pretty dramatic. Actually, people didn't really make a thing of it, but when I saw the
Because people didn't have HDR TVs back
right
then.
when I saw the HDR
Mhm.
in like games start running with HDR, I was like, wow, that's actually a pretty damn big difference.
Yeah.
So that was already a little significant. But
See, the thing
And
is, like, for me, I'll probably just end up buying like another $500 graphics card. Like, I know Mav, like, you're like, I don't want to play my PC all the time. You can go spend $3,000 upgrading every 8 Xbox in your house to a new fucking console. I don't care. I'll just buy a $500 graphics
no, you
card.
just upgrade one at a time. It's like it's 150, $200 at a time over like a couple of months, and you're all the way upgraded. It's not that difficult or hard to upgrade for me like a console. You know what I mean? Like going from last gen to this gen consoles wise was like kind of a breeze. The only thing was it was hard getting the consoles at first. Like they just weren't available.
Yeah.
But like selling your old ones was like it was like a breeze.
But they with the VCR Xbox One with the One X, that was like a 4 times performance because you went from like a one teraflop to four, almost it was like a 4 point something. It was almost it was a 4 time performance. The having 12 flop to go up to 5 more teraflops to 17
That would be
or
going up to
18,
7 or 8. Yeah.
that's a half of it times 0.5. There we go. It's a half a times better.
I mean, that's
I
pretty
mean-
much what the PlayStation 5 Pro was too, or PlayStation 4
Yeah.
Pro.
Yeah. If we
Yeah,
did
well, yeah,
much of
that
a
wasn't
upgrade.
much of a
in
pro.
2025,
big upgrade.
I mean, I bet we would have pretty substantial upgrade on the hardware by that point. But
It would probably be 19 teraflops. If PlayStation's 17 or 18, Xbox would probably be 19.
there's
20.
also like other features and stuff that have come out for those cars that have been
Yeah, then
better
we would have more
versions.
features that PlayStation doesn't have, and then we wouldn't be able to use them because PlayStation would have them.
Cut the
Yeah.
push part.
And that's the thing. And we're in this vicious circle again. I just spent $700 on this console, and it's not being fully utilized.
Yeah.
And that's
Shout out to anonymous boss with the $5 says Psycho went so overboard that Fuzzy was scratching his eyes for a couple seconds. Yeah. Psycho was having his dying.
yeah. Again, I lost it.
Dad,
Sorry.
use the tools. You're not using the tools. Razor NZ member for 6 months gifted 10 memberships. Yo, Razor, Thank you so much for the gifted. I appreciate you and everybody else here watching. If you do like the content here in this debate, hit the like button, share and sub to the channel, hit the notification bell. Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh yeah, it was 6 times. I'm sorry, it was 6 times. I forgot. It won 6 teraflops. PlayStation was 4 teraflops.
And maybe
So
maybe
6
I'm
times the
wrong about this, right? I just see the state of the games that we're getting, and I want better on console.
Yeah,
They would run better, but you would still have the issues between consoles. Like some consoles are going to run them at fucking 55 frames, some of them's going to run at 60. That's always going to be there.
But will we see more 60 frames games instead of 30?
Not if they try to push it to native 4K, which they probably would do.
Yeah. I
they're gonna
almost
go
wish
with
that would be
resolution.
the thing that goes away. Just like you said earlier, 1440, 60, up res or do more particle effects, things like that. I think that would make for one, a smoother game, and two, a better looking game overall. Because that up res to a 4K TV pretty nicely. But
Because the games are going to keep advancing with technology
and they
improvements.
So
and
we're
that's the
just
thing,
doomed
and
to a future
that's-
where console games eventually in the middle of the cycle will always be 30 frames per second.
But listen,
Because the-
if they use, like, let's say
they have to have options. That's
they
why you need
use
settings.
But they don't do it now, and even if they do, they suck sometimes. That's what I'm saying. Like,
And that comes back to the devs, not
Yeah,
the
but
console.
if they have a better
So-
hardware, those
no,
shitty
then
Okay.
that
options will be
creates
slightly
problems
better.
for the devs, and you won't be guaranteed a fucking steady game. So you need a platform that fucking works. Don't
When-
give them more work.
It's an argument. Basically, the y'all's argument is like, developers suck, so what's the point? Right?
No, see,
like, we
when
might as well
they-
fucking go back to Xbox
they got-
Ones then. Like,
but
I
they
don't-
got
like,
tools they can utilize. Like
if better hardware
can-
doesn't give
It's
you
not
better
the deve-
games,
no,
then why do
it's-
people
they
ever
need
upgrade
time.
hardware?
They need
But-
more time.
more better hardware is not going to
Here we
fix
go
the
again.
issues.
We're back in the fucking full
So
argument.
now, if you go back to if you up res a 1080p visuals to 4K, and it's using less, it's rendering less, but it's being upscaled, and you can utilize that extra power to something else. I don't know, frame rate, if they're able to, by using the fucking tools, using VRS tier 2 mesh shaders and the variable rate shadings, there's things that fucking they can use that it just doesn't make sense why they're not using it, other than because the other team doesn't use them. That's my problem. That's the problem we're gonna have.
Yeah,
I think
we'll
it's
find
just
out.
time. It's time. It just devs don't have the time to do it because
Yeah.
publisher wants to give them.
Well, they don't. 6 years obviously isn't enough these days.
Well, it's not it.
They
with
take
the
forever.
problem
To,
is
they take forever to make games. Now some of them not so much, but like,
yeah, Unreal 6. That's when we get it. Unreal 6.
oh
That's
fuck
when we
Unreal
get it.
too. I'm so sick of Unreal Engine and all the hype about Unreal Engine stuff. Like, I understand the marketing and everybody. Ooh, it's made an. I can't remember. There was a game that like was shown at, I think it was at the Keeleys, and he all hyped it up. And this game is running in Unreal Engine 5, and you can actually hear an audible like ooh from the crowd. You know, it's like, oh wow, we're about to have our minds fucking blown. And it was like an anime game that showed up on the screen. It was like, oh yeah, this could have been running on any fucking engine.
Oh, I think it was
could
like
have been,
Sand.
it could have
Crap
been
or whatever the fuck it was
Unity,
called.
and nobody. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't care
it
about
looked
Unreal
worse
Engine
than
5.
Fortnite.
I don't care if
There's
it's
that
Unity.
Dragon Ball Z
I don't care if
created
it's RE engine. I don't care if it's fucking piece of shit engine, creation engine, or whatever it is, as long as it's good and performs well and the game is quality. Too many Unreal Engine 4 games have come out, and they can't even hit 60 frames on next-gen consoles on fucking Unreal Engine 4 because of stupid reasons like, oh, because we put tethered co-op in this game, we can't manage to figure out how to fucking make it 60 frames on these Series X's and S's. We don't understand because we decided to make the smart-ass decision to connect an invisible cable to untie it, and now you can go wherever you want. Now you don't get 60 frames because it's an Unreal Engine 4 and it doesn't work great with open. Fuck you. Just give me my fucking games. Give me my frames. I want performance. I want all that shit. No more excuses. Stop making dumb decisions. And I don't care if it's an Unreal. I don't care what engine it is. Just make it good. I don't care if it's ray tracing. If I see my fucking reflection in a mirror, it's not ray tracing. That shit's existed since the fucking PS2. Okay? Wow. Oh, you can see these fucking reflections in these puddles. Oh my God. Is it worth tanking your fucking game to 25 frames per second, making it run at 720p? No. It's not worth it. We already had reflections in our fucking puddles. We already had shadows. We already had light. We already had these in our fucking games forever. I don't want you creating a new version that makes my game run like shit just so you can say it has ray tracing.
It wouldn't run like shit if they used the tools map.
Are we ready for
That's all.
tidbits?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo!
You can go on another minute rant while I said that.
Ray tracing. Oh my God. Fuck ray tracing.
In between the mid-gen refreshes and tidbits, do we want to touch on the Project Q for a bit?
Oh, that stupid thing. Yeah, let's touch on it. Project Q.
Controller with a screen.
It's a Wii U gamepad for the PlayStation 5.
Pretty much.
You can't leave your house on it. If you do, you're gonna get electrocuted.
And it falls apart in your hand, apparently.
See,
What?
originally I was thinking that it would be like what you could do with your phone with the remote play app, where you'd be able to be on Wi-Fi at, like, let's say you go on a trip, you're at the hotel, sign on to the hotel's Wi-Fi, you leave your PlayStation in sleep mode or you leave it on, and they would be able to call back to that PlayStation, and then you'd be able to play your games. Apparently, you can't even do that. So it's like, what's the purpose? It's like you'd be better off just using your cell phone and a backbone.
Yeah.
Or a what do you call it? A Razer Kishi or something.
I just wonder how
But
much
if
it's gonna be.
those
If it's like
people
$150,
don't
I'm
have
like,
that.
okay, that's a cool little thing to have around your house.
This
or
thing's gonna be $500. I'm
It's-
telling you.
No, the rumor is 200.
Wait,
but still,
hold on a second. Mav just said this would be a cool thing to have around your house. Meanwhile, he's talking about fucking mid-gen refreshes. You're going to go play on a fucking stupid $150 screen controller that's going to look like dog shit on Wi-Fi.
I said if it was 150, it'd be cool to have around your house because you could.
It's
do your console
150
streaming,
handheld
and
PS5.
you can play your games
right.
in bed and stuff,
Yeah,
or when you're
okay.
taking a shit or whatever you're doing, right? And it would be nice to have a good little screen there if it wasn't expensive. Now, if this thing is like $250, then it's not worth having when you take a shit. Okay.
Your screen's going to look like a 240p fucking video game run at 15 frames a second across Wi-Fi. Got it. But we need mid-gen refreshes.
Yeah, you'd be choosy on the games you play on it. Like you play Vampire Survivors and you play like, Diablo, like stuff like that. You're not gonna play fucking
Yeah,
Death
Oh, so
Stranding
like you
or,
should play Starfield on your PC and go play fucking
I'm
Madden
not
on your
playing
Xbox.
Starfield on a fucking Wii U gamepad, dude. Like
At 5 FPS.
That's why I got this PC is pretty much just for Starfield because I cannot fathom playing that game at 30 frames. I just wasn't gonna do it. Like that was the falling off point for me. And I'm not blaming the devs. I'm not blaming, Xbox for that or whatever. It's just I want the best experience with this like once in a generation game that I can possibly get.
I will say, if I say it again, if they next generation Xbox, please, for the love of God, match the fucking memory for both consoles. If you got to just use a lesser GPU, CPU for the S, fine, but use the goddamn same amount. So, because that is pretty much why they're having issues is because of memory. Just fucking make it the same. And just put a little bit less fucking CPU, GPU. That's it. Come on, Xbox.
Jax82 says, Mav, it sounds like you've given the devs an out with a $2 super chat. Thanks for the super chat. I just am being a realist, and I think the developers are the developers, and they're going to prioritize what they prioritize, and they're going to. I'm not I'm not really thinking that we're going to make an impact and change the way developers develop their games. Like, I just want better.
They did that
the end result for me. What's the end result for me? Like
they were
if
able
I
to do that
hardware
last
for it, I gotta have
generation.
better hardware for it.
You see, they were able to do that last generation, but then when they did that mid-gen refresh, they're like, "Ooh, okay." And then when NVIDIA is like, oh, here's the 3090, and then sneezes 7 days or 7 months later. Here's
See,
the 4090.
The problem is that's the problem that comes with that. If they're going to keep doing mid-gen refresh, eventually it's going to be every 2 years you get a mid-gen refresh, and then you're going to end up with fucking $2,000 40 fucking 90s every fucking time instead of a fucking $600 graphics card like it used to be back in the day. You end up with fucking $2,000 shit because
Jasper
it's got to be
doesn't
fucking
want console gamers to
powerful.
get better hardware so he can have his PC components cheaper.
I don't want to fucking end up having to pay $3,000 for a fucking Xbox in 20 years.
It won't be. Well, hey, if it had a $3,000 Xbox now that like ran all my games with fucking crazy fidelity and frame rates, I would have gotten that instead of a PC.
Are you fucking smoking crack, bro?
I would have. I prefer playing games on console. Alvin with a $5 super chat says, I want a more powerful option for everything. My console, car, pickup, drill, toilet, mower, everything. What is the commie nonsense? LOL, just joking. I agree. Why not more power? Give it to me. Give me the, if I like frames, I like performance, I like fidelity. Give it to me. Give me the option. Take advantage of it. I don't want to be.
Take advantage of the consoles. Exactly right.
Yeah, including the new one that they may release in 2025. All right, we ready? Let's go.
This is ready. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let me know when you want me to hit play.
I think we are good. I think. Well, this is weird.
You ready?
Yeah. I thought we already
Okay,
did
hit play.
Pikmin last week. Oh, this isn't Pikmin?
No.
Okay. What? Oh, that was just a highlight. All
this
right,
is
we're
not
ready to go,
Pikmin.
Jasper.
Okay. So, is it playing? Yeah, it's playing.
By Roberta Williams. The only way out is in.
Colossal Cave.
Interesting. This is based on like a 70s art or 80s art Atari game.
Probably need a mid-gen refresh.
So this one is Mr. Run and Jump.
Yeah.
It's PS4, PS5, Xbox One, X and S, Switch, and PC. You know what? I didn't ever hit the tidbits segment button. This is tidbits, everybody. This is a segment where we look ahead at the games releasing for the week, in case you were wondering what the hell we're doing right now.
We have no choice.
That one
The
released
root will destroy.
25th.
This is Remnant 2. It came out in early access for if you got the premium
Ultimate
version or whatever on Friday, and it's officially releasing Tuesday for $50. Awesome game. We talked a little bit about it at the start of the show. It's very hard to play.
No turning back after
It's
this.
a
You
UE5
sure?
game, so
Yeah.
all weekend.
Yeah. Most creative game out there right now.
Yeah, it's very creative. The enemy designs and shit are crazy. Next game's Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart for PC, $60. How is this possible? I don't understand. Does it require an SSD?
Hey, it requires a mid-gen refresh. So it requires.
Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart coming to PC. No longer requires SSD. By Nixon.
Yeah, Nixus must be magicians.
Ultra-wide display system.
You are the heroes of this dimension?
Your reputation precedes you. We haven't done anything heroic in years.
It all started on planet Velma.
Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. We lied
A
to you.
restless tinker, hungry for adventure.
At some point, I hope they take the approach that Microsoft does with their first party, where if you buy it on PC, you get a console version as well. If you buy it on console, you get the PC version as well. It's
What is this? What test is with the hard drive?
This is $60.
Fought a long time to win our galaxy
I was
back.
wondering if they're going to show him going through a portal in the PC version.
Someone call for backup. Your campaign
That's what they said was only possible because of
cruelty and wanton snobbery.
But most of that was on there. Like I played this. This was my first platinum on my
master
PS5,
of us all.
and
Password, please.
I don't even think
Why do I need a password?
It
I'm
took
the
like
Emperor. How
14,
about I
not even
obliterate you
14 hours. I
instead?
think this was like an 8-hour or 10-hour game for me.
Rated E10
My
for ages
platinum.
10 and up.
Imagine people actually believing that.
Yeah, there's
Psychonauts 2 had, like with their mirrors, there was a different world through the mirror.
Let's
and you
go!
could walk around it and stuff.
Yep, I remember that.
Can't touch me.
Double Dragon, guys, Rise of the Dragon.
No escape.
PS4, PS5, Xbox One, XS, Switch, PC, releases on everything. Thursday, $22.50. I grew up playing the shit out of Double Dragon back when I was taking Master with my brother. This looks nothing like it.
No, this is like Double Dragon Kids or Teens or something.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like it could be fun. You know, I like kind of beat 'em up.
Smart. Gotcha. Out of my way.
Here we go.
that's how Scott Pilgrim saves the world.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Gaiden, Rise of the Dragons.
Arc System Works. Okay.
Bobo's here.
Could be good. I'm actually, it's on my radar, so we'll see. Return to Monkey Island is next. It's releasing for $10 on mobile.
Pirating is in my blood, like adrenaline or stale grog.
So if you
I've
haven't
been in
already
enough
picked it up on
scraps to fill
console
a
or
dozen
Switch,
scrapbooks.
each save
I've got
$10
stories
in
about
comparison
ships,
to what it costs on console.
Fights, love, treasure, betrayal,
Does anyone actually
and
buy
root
these
beer.
games on mobile?
But how
to do
about
that?
one that has all of the above?
I think just
My
a
name
different
is Guybrush
crowd
Threepwood,
buys them on mobile.
And this is a story
Like,
about the time
they may not even bother
I
with
finally
console.
found
They're like, oh,
the
this looks
secret
like
of
a
Monkey
cool game.
Island.
Pick it up.
Yeah, because like I never hear of anyone playing like a console game that's like primarily console with the mobile, like on mobile. Besides like a battle royale, or, like Minecraft.
I just like the fact that, like, with, at least through Game Pass, you can just do xCloud on your phone kind of thing. So it's almost like a mobile game, but on your phone as long as you have, decent Wi-Fi or decent signal. I think they also are starting to release that Monkey Island DLC or something like that for Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
I think that may have been like the day before Diablo update or something.
Next up coming is The Expanse, the Telltale series. Releases on PS4, PS5, Xbox One XS, and PC for $40. This comes out on
Oh, Thursday? Yeah, it comes out this Thursday, the 27th.
When there's a treasure this big, I make
This is
it
a
my
great
business
show.
to know about it. The coordinates on that data drive, they're for the MK core.
We got a job, Baratnas.
Cox promised us a real payday. He said, give me 3 months, and you
Is
never
this
have
that
to work
space
again.
series
that
that's
before.
on
Big
Amazon or
Whatever
something?
this is,
Yeah,
it'll still be
that's-
everything you need
it's
to
so
help the
good.
belt.
Do we want
It's
to
like
invite
Mass
that kind of
Effect
attention?
meets,
In and out. No games.
you know,
Time to see what all the
space
fuss
pirates
is
and
about.
shit.
We've been locked.
Don't these
Looks like Telltale stepped up their game.
What do you think we should do?
There is no good option. Whatever you choose will be wrong, and it's your job to choose.
When you find what's at the other end of those coordinates, the whole system will be on your ass.
What are you waiting for?
Stations! On my word, loose a PDC volley, then turn and burn.
Just like series. Only this time, no dolls to keep you on the leash, yeah?
I hope that my actions
The
on this
dogfight
ship
battles
can offer
are
some
awesome.
amends for my past.
Whatever this treasure is, the one thing we know
So
is that it will
Damien D
change
says this
everything.
is the first game by
So
the
are you
Telltale.
going to spend the rest of your oxygen feeling sorry for yourself? Or are you going to get to work?
Yeah, I might pick this up. Oh. 3
Alright.
days.
The Room VR, A Dark Matter, comes out on PSVR 2 for $30 on the 27th.
Now, it's already been on PSVR 1, but I don't think they're doing the back compat
That sucks.
method, so you'd have to rebuy it if you had it on PS1 or PSVR 1.
I would laugh if it's the same visually.
Yeah, this is that. Isn't that part of the Dark Anthology, but just the VR games, right? Or is this something else?
This is. Actually, I'm not sure on that. I just
You know
know
what
it
I'm
was
talking about,
available on PS. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, if I was to actually buy a PSVR game or play a VR game, this is like the kind I would get. Like, you're barely moving.
What, you wouldn't want PSVR for like Gran Turismo?
No.
Land of Moloch.
I'm sure it
is a
looks amazing, but I
beautiful,
wouldn't last 5
magical
minutes.
place.
Um,
But its history
Disney
is
Illusion
long
Island
without
releasing on the
its
Switch
dark
Friday the
allures.
28th for $39.99.
Will rain down untold suffering and misery.
That's it! For me, that's a Tuesday.
We're in desperate need of your help.
Delilah, they're the ones
Our
that made Battletoads.
entire world is in danger. Uh-oh. You
What,
must
does this
travel
have for
to the
play
3
co-op
biomes of Monarch
online?
and retrieve the
Swear to
tomes
God.
of knowledge.
Don't you worry, Toku. We won't let you down.
But be prepared.
Don't you worry,
It will not be easy.
Well, I think if others are in need, we should help them. And if that makes us heroes, then let's be heroes.
Oh, I've got a question. What are we doing again?
All right. That's it, I think, right, Jasper?
Yep, that's all of them.
All right. Well, that's it for tidbits. That was tidbits. I'm gonna play the thing now because I forgot to play it earlier. I just did that purely for testing purposes to make sure everything worked. But yes, that was tidbits, the segment where we look ahead at the games releasing for the week. And yeah, this has been a fun show, a good debate show. It's fun to just have those once in a while. I think
I think all of us had a rant, but fuzzy there.
Yeah, we've all kind of had the same discussion now for a long time because I even early on before the Series X release, I was like, yeah, I think we're gonna get mid-gen refreshes and stuff, and everybody's like, no, and I'm like, why not? They're like, because of the tools. Like, okay, but I've been the same mentality ever
Don't get
since.
me started.
I like the idea of them personally, so that's probably why I'm so pro on it. But you guys have been amazing in the chat. We had a poll going for a long time, and it is crazy close. It says, "Would you upgrade your Series X to a Series X Pro?" 51% said no, and it says 48%. So I'm guessing this falls as somewhere between like 48.5 or something. Said yes. So at 144 votes, pretty much 50-50. Yes was winning for a long time. The no's overtook it, I think, during tidbits there. So very interesting thoughts from the chat. I appreciate you all joining in the conversation. And again, if you like the content here, make sure to hit the like button, share it out, sub, notification bell, all that cool stuff. And I greatly appreciate all the engagement in the chat because you rock and help make the show go. I'm glad we didn't have any crazy difficulties with all the new setup stuff. According to everybody, this is where I need to have my camera, so I will try and remember to do that and just leave it here.
Psycho, you gotta hide your treadmill now.
You gotta hide. I can't. That thing is a fucking beast, dude. It does not like I
sell it.
Can you like move your camera?
I can't
like,
get it downstairs.
Put it on your desk,
huh?
Can you put your camera on your desk so you still get like that corner shot, like behind Moon Knight or whatever? Or you
I put my camera on the desk. I never thought of that.
And like maybe point it up. Oh, that's a little low.
This is the desk. Yeah, no, it's not.
This is real talk with Mav.
Yeah, that ain't gonna work there. Yeah, maybe I'll like put a sheet over the treadmill. I don't know what to do with it, dude.
Or get a green screen.
When we moved into this house, this was a different room, right? Like this wasn't my office and stuff at the time, and it was a fucking pain in the ass getting that treadmill up here. I had to take it apart, but it wouldn't come apart all the way, and then the fucking Allen wrench, thing on it, like stripped the threading on the screw, and we had to like haul it in between the hallway out there, which is like not very much room, okay, to get it to finagle it through the door somehow without destroying the house. We ended up scratching the door pretty bad, but we got it in here, set it up, and then like 6 months later, we decided to switch the rooms all up. And I can't get it apart anymore because.
So what you're saying now is, if you ever move houses, that's staying.
This is probably got to stay. I don't. The only other thing I can think is open that window enough and just fucking throw it out the window.
I'm sure that would work.
But my AC units are right down there, so I can't do that either. So I don't know, man. It's probably gonna stay there forever. We got to figure it out.
It's a housewarming gift for the next owners.
Green screen.
Yeah,
just green screen.
I mean, it works. I don't use it.
Just green screen it, bro.
Just green screen it, but but the rest of my backdrop, do I need a green screen?
Fucking weird green screen.
No, just do a green screen right. That's from the next to the Batman.
Do a green screen over the treadmill.
Just over the treadmill, and just have a picture of that room right there with minus the treadmill, so it doesn't look like. That's what a lot of people do. That there are a lot of their rooms that look really cool.
Turn your entire office around so you face the treadmill.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
All right.
Even just setting up this desk and everything with all this stuff is an ordeal. Like, even if I would decide I want to move my desk down that way 3 inches, I have to take all this shit down. Like, I do all this stuff. It is fucking like hours. It'd take a whole day just to do that. Just to move my desk 3 inches, it would take like a whole fucking day. Anyway, everybody, you rock. Thanks for being here again. Hey, Jasper, tell everybody where they can find you, dude.
Yeah, you can find me Lord Jasper Twitter, Lord Matt Jasper YouTube. I just streamed Remnant today, so I did a whole world. I finished. I started in part 1 and finished the whole one. So if you want to check that out, and I'm right at the end of the game. Probably not going to do the stream on the end of the game because spoilers, and it's the final boss. So I'll be streaming for like 20 minutes or whatever. But other than that, you can check me out there Friday and Monday, 10 o'clock right here. FSP Network for FSP the show and Xbox Ultimate.
Right on. Thanks, Jasper. What about you, Fuzzy?
Oh, just awesome being on here with you guys tonight. Definitely a few crack ups as far as you guys ranting, but I'm past getting worked up on it. Division has already pissed me off on a few things, so I if we bring up Division, I'll probably start ranting about that. But for those that want to hear my rants and rambles on anything gaming, just follow me on the social media platform formerly known as Twitter, called X, or whatever Elon chooses to call it next week. But other than that, look forward to being here with you guys for Xbox Ultimate Friday at 10 p.m. Look forward to seeing you guys there. And thanks to everyone in the chat for coming out. Greatly appreciate it.
Right on, man. Thanks, dude. And Psycho, besides picketing at the Xbox and PlayStation headquarters, asking them for not to make midget refreshes, where can everybody find you?
No, I'm gonna take Nate Dogg's advice and I'm gonna run Activision, and we're gonna make the Xbox Series X version the best looking Call of Duty's version ever, and show you what the capabilities of this console is really truly capable of, while the PS5 is holding back this generation. So thank you, everybody, and you can find me everywhere on social media.
Yeah.
Psychonauts, and you can find me on this show, and Fridays you can find me on Xbox Ultimate, and just love the chat and great energy tonight. There are a couple knuckleheads in there, but they straightened out, so it's all good. Thank you.
Right on. And you can find me on X, the Fun Speculation.
Yeah.
It's a good thing you're not streaming on there.
Why is it?
You'd have X streams.
Yeah. Yeah. I maybe I won't stream on X. Would it be a X video? Everybody can find me there on whatever Twitter's called now, and on Threads also at Fun Speculation. If they keep randomly banning people on X or whatever you want to call it, maybe there's going to be more people making their way. That will be X Twitter users. On Threads.
Yeah, but they're gonna start using the tools now on X. So.
Yeah. Also, we do have PM in the PM coming up on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Tune in then to catch Pong Soul and I talk about whatever there is to talk about, and we may have to come up with another ridiculous conversation. But we'll see what's going to happen then. And then Friday night Xbox Ultimate Podcast at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Everyone, have a great night. Take it easy. Peace out. Thanks for being here. Bye.
Later, folks.
Oh.